There's two things to look at. One is if you're looking at the mathematical error in the Icosa code that we've been talking about, then, and if you were looking at from a glasses half full perspective, then you'll see that the majority of the yield in Icosa is now going to, in fact, take place in the first year. Whereas before, we didn't exactly know because it would depend on when, God Whale ended its stake and got like a 20% bonus, right? And all these bonuses that were going to get paid out. Now that we don't have to worry about that being an ongoing inflationary event going past the 1 year, then I think if we're talking about inflation is good if you're receiving it, right? So in this first year, this is your opportunity to receive it. After that, then it's going to be harder to get over time as the T-share rate ratchets up, right, et cetera, et cetera. So I think if inflation was a sticking point for you before the auctions, then it should probably be less of a thing now.
Hey, can I ask you a question, Gifford, about I'm not sure if you know, but the injected liquidity function that was set up at the start, just before Icosa was launched. So then the Hedron, the SA that basically burns Hedron, but it distributes that burnt Hedron over that first year. But now that the SA has run that function again, does that mean that from, like yesterday or whatever until for the next year, that is going to be coming out, or is it just distributed over the first year of Icosa?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's a function that anybody can run, right? So it's a function in the code that anybody can run to see the liquidity. So essentially, what is happening is you take the hedron that you're burning, you divide it by the T-share rate, right? And then I'm not sure if you can specify outside of 360 days. I feel like you can, but I don't know that for sure. I'll have to double check. But essentially, once you set that in stone, it's just the code doing it. There's nothing that can stop it, right? So when the bootstrap got kicked in, that was good for 360 days from when the launch of Icosa started. Now you've got basically a second bootstrap going, and they're going to be overlapping for the majority of the distribution. But then towards the end, the original bootstrap will end, and then you'll still get a little bit of that bootstrap that we just got, and then until finally that'll end, unless there's any more that's injected. You never know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I was just wondering whether it had to be set at 360 or whether the person could adjust or did adjust. So I'm wondering what the SA did with that injected liquidity that they put in.
I feel like you can input the days. I just don't know for sure. I don't want to say without knowing for sure.
Yeah, I haven't heard either on that one. The best I thought was 360 days. That's what I heard.
So for the next year, we're going to get that Icosa.
Yeah, we'll have 270 days essentially from now of like 25% boost on the base yield, and then it'll drop off to just whatever remains for the last 90 days of what was input with the 750 billion, which is still great, but yeah.
Yeah, and to shout out Steven in the chat, he said that he thought that Icosa would go down a lot lower than what it did in price. And the interesting thing is if you're tracking Icosa with the B share rate, it basically hit a double bottom at a 10% premium. So I thought that was interesting. It's like, wait, how exactly did that double bottom on a premium? Like, who's watching that? Like what? I thought I was the only one watching that, but apparently somebody else is. And I think the one thing that might have helped Icosa was that the rate of liquidating these HSIs slowed down, so there wasn't as much being run through the system and recycled. I think that definitely has a part to play as well.